The crystalline screens of the Valdran Imperial flagship Eternal Dominion flickered with static as Commander Kievan adjusted the long-range scanners. Beyond the viewport, the border zone shimmered with the telltale distortion of human defense grids, a boundary that had held for 3 standard years, despite the Empire's best attempts to breach it. Still nothing? Captain Anna's voice cut through the bridge's tense silence. She stood from her command chair, her Terran uniform bearing the scars of a dozen skirmishes along this very border. "Negative, Captain," Kievan replied, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "The Valdran fleet is holding position at exactly 10,000 kilometers from the boundary. They haven't moved in 6 hours." Anna approached the viewport, her reflection ghosting over the stars. Out there, 300 Imperial warships waited, each one capable of glassing a planet. The Valdran Empire had conquered 47 species across 12 sectors. They had never been denied, until they met humanity. "They're testing us again," Anna murmured. "Waiting to see if we'll blink first." The communication console chirped. Kievan's expression darkened as he read the incoming message. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Imperial flagship. It's High Admiral Zarthok himself." On screen, the viewport transformed into a display showing the towering figure of the Valdran commander. His chitinous exoskeleton gleamed purple-black under his ship's harsh lighting, and his 4 eyes fixed on Anna with predatory intensity. "Human Captain," Zarthok's translator rendered his clicks and whistles into clipped English. "Your presence here is pointless. The Valdran Empire claims this sector by right of conquest. Stand aside and your species may survive as vassals." Anna's expression remained neutral. "High Admiral, I'll say this once more. Terran Command has established this border through the Treaty of New Geneva. Your Empire acknowledged our sovereignty over these systems. Turn your fleet around." Zarthok's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "A treaty signed under duress is no treaty at all. We were unprepared during our first encounter with your kind. That miscalculation has been corrected. Our fleet numbers 300 warships. Your station commands perhaps 20 vessels. The mathematics are simple." Kievan caught Anna's eye, concern evident in his features. The Valdrans were right about the numbers. Terran Defense Station Aurora held only a modest fleet. Enough for patrol duties, but not enough to face an Imperial armada in open combat. But Anna smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. "High Admiral, your intelligence is outdated. Would you like to reconsider your position? Or shall I demonstrate why Terran Command forbids your crossing? Empty bravado will not—" "Kievan," Anna interrupted, turning to her tactical officer. "Activate the perimeter." Kievan's fingers flew across his console. "Perimeter active. All systems online?" The space between the 2 fleets suddenly erupted with light. What the Valdrans had assumed was empty void revealed itself to be anything but. Thousands of autonomous defense platforms materialized as their stealth systems disengaged, each one bristling with weapons that made the Valdran warships look primitive by comparison. But that wasn't all. The stars themselves seemed to shift as massive structures decloaked, not ships, but something far more terrifying. Orbital defense stations the size of moons, their surfaces covered in weapon arrays that could crack a planet's crust. And behind them, lurking in the black, the distinctive signatures of human carriers began to appear. Not 20 ships, not 50. 317 vessels emerged from quantum stealth, each one representing humanity's finest military engineering. The smallest destroyer in the fleet carried weapons that had made the Valdrans retreat in their first encounter. The largest carriers housed fighter squadrons that had rewritten the Empire's tactical manuals. Zarthok's eyes widened, all 4 pupils dilating in shock. "You see, High Admiral," Anna continued, her voice calm, "humanity learned something important in our history. We learned it through blood and fire, through wars that nearly destroyed us. We learned that borders matter, that sovereignty matters, that some lines cannot be crossed without consequence." Kievan pulled up tactical displays showing the Valdran fleet now completely surrounded by human firepower. "Their shields are charging, Captain. They're preparing to retreat," Anna said confidently. "Aren't you, High Admiral?" On screen, Zarthok remained frozen, his tactical officers visible behind him in states of obvious panic. The mathematics had indeed changed. The Valdrans had brought enough force to overwhelm a border station. They had not brought enough to survive humanity's actual military strength. "This is impossible," Zarthok finally hissed. Our scouts reported minimal defenses. How did you hide such a fleet? Anna's smile widened. You conquered 47 species, High Admiral. Do you know what they all had in common? None of them were particularly good at hiding. Humans, on the other hand, spent thousands of years perfecting the art of deception, misdirection, and asymmetric warfare. We fought each other with such ferocity that when we finally turned outward, we brought lessons no alien species had learned. She leaned forward, her voice hardening. This border stands. It will always stand. Not because we want war with your empire, but because we refuse to be conquered. Every system behind this line is protected by Terran Command. And Terran Command does not surrender. We do not retreat. We do not compromise when it comes to our sovereignty. Kievan watched his sensors as the Valdran fleet's formation began to break apart, ships slowly backing away from the boundary. Last chance, High Admiral, Anna said quietly. Take your fleet home. Tell your Emperor that humanity is not his next conquest. Tell him that some species cannot be dominated, no matter how many worlds you've claimed before. Tell him that we are different. Sarthok's image flickered. For a long moment, the bridge was silent except for the hum of the defense grid. Then, with what might have been respect in his alien voice, the High Admiral spoke. Captain Anna, I will deliver your message. The Empire will need to reconsider its expansion plans. The transmission ended. On sensors, the Valdran fleet began its slow withdrawal, massive warships turning away from the border they would not cross. Kievan exhaled slowly. They're leaving. All vessels confirmed in retreat. Anna nodded, returning to her command chair. Through the viewport, the human fleet remained visible for a moment longer before fading back into quantum stealth. The defense platforms remained active, a glowing reminder of the line that would not be crossed. Log it in the report, Anna said. The border holds. Humanity stands. Kievan smiled as he entered the log. The galaxy was vast, filled with empires and powers that had never known defeat. But humanity had taught them all a valuable lesson, that some borders were more than lines on a map. They were promises, declarations, statements of will, and humanity's will was unbreakable. The border held. It would always hold.